The obsession, the world, the internet. Everyone is waiting. They're hoping for this moment where you and Jennifer run into each other so they can take their picture. I'll run into Jen. She's a good friend. Brad Pitt has lived through two of Hollywood's most talked about marriages. First, his picture-perfect romance with Jennifer Aniston, which ended in heartbreak. Then his whirlwind relationship with Angelina Jolie, filled with love, kids, and red carpet moments, only to collapse in one of the most expensive and painful divorces in Hollywood history. Now at 61, Brad is dating again, and fans keep asking the same question. Will he ever walk down the aisle once more? His answer might surprise you. Join us as we take a closer look at Brad's past marriages and what he really thinks about tying the knot again. Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt. From first meeting to falling in love. Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt's story started in the mid-1990s. They were introduced by their managers, but at that time nothing romantic happened. Jennifer later said of her first impression, "He was just this sweet guy from Missouri, a normal guy." Years later, in 1998, both stars were single again, and their managers brought them together. This time, the spark was real. Jennifer described their first date as effortless, saying, "That was a really easy evening. It was really fun." By September 1999, they made their red carpet debut at the Emmy Awards, and the world couldn't get enough of them. 2 months later, Brad proposed with a diamond and platinum ring he had personally helped design for 7 months. They announced their engagement on stage at a Sting concert, showing the crowd the ring that confirmed Hollywood's favorite couple was official. Their wedding in July 2000 was straight out of a movie with 200 guests, 50,000 flowers. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston are becoming close. 200 guests, 50,000 flowers, 4 bands, a gospel choir, and fireworks. 4 bands and a 13-minute fireworks display. The event cost around $1 million. Jennifer wore a silk and satin beaded gown, and her vows even included a playful promise to always make Brad's favorite banana milkshake. The two looked picture perfect, and just months later, they made their first red carpet appearance as a married couple at the Emmy Awards, glowing as Hollywood's golden pair. Everything seemed flawless. But what was to come would test even the strongest bond, the highs of their marriage. During the early 2000s, Jennifer and Brad seemed unstoppable. In 2001, Brad even guest-starred on an episode of Friends. Fans loved the cameo, where he played Will Colbert. Will Ross. "Hey, you came. Man, you look incredible." A character who hilariously joined the I Hate Rachel Green Club. Jennifer later admitted he was one of her favorite guest stars, calling the experience wonderful. The couple continued to shine together at events like the 2002 Golden Globes, where they matched in black and became the talk of the night. That same year, they launched Plan B Entertainment with producer Brad Gray. At first, they kept the company quiet with Jennifer, saying, "We started this little company underground. Didn't really talk about it, because we didn't want to be accused of being actors who have vanity deals where you don't do anything." The company grew quickly, producing movies like Troy and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Beyond business, Jennifer often reflected on her love for Brad. In 2003, when asked if he was the love of her life, she gave a heartfelt but cautious answer. "Is he the love of my life? Think you're always sort of wondering, are you the love of my life? I mean, I don't know. I've never been someone who says he's the love of my life. He's certainly a big love in my life, and I know that we have something special, especially in all this chaos." In 2004, she told The Guardian she was ready to start a family. "It's time. It's time. I think you can work with a baby. I think you can work pregnant. Think you can do all of it." It looked like the next chapter of their life together was coming. But behind the smiles and success, the marriage was heading toward a turning point that no one expected. The painful split and aftermath. By January 2005, Jennifer and Brad, shocked the world by announcing their separation. They released a joint statement saying, "We would like to announce that after 7 years together, we have decided to formally separate. This decision is the result of much thoughtful consideration. We happily remain committed and caring friends with great love and admiration for one another." Just 2 months later, Jennifer officially filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. She also requested to change her last name back to Aniston. The divorce was finalized on October 2, 2005, ending what many thought was Hollywood's perfect marriage. Afterward, Jennifer openly shared her feelings in a candid interview with Vanity Fair. She admitted the split was painful and compared it to grief, saying, "There are many stages of grief. It's sad, something coming to an end. It cracks you open in a way. Cracks you open to feeling." She also spoke about the difficulty of watching Brad move on so quickly with Angelina Jolie, especially after photos of them together in Kenya surfaced. "I can't say it was one of the highlights of my year," Jennifer admitted. Still, she tried to rise above the heartbreak, saying, "I am not defined by this relationship. I'm not defined by the part the media is making me play in the triangle. It's maddening to me." Even after the hurt, Jennifer showed grace. She said, "I really do hope that someday we can be friends again. I will love Brad for the rest of my life. He's a fantastic man. I don't regret any of it, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it." 2 years after their very public split, Brad Pitt spoke to V magazine in September 2007. From painful words to warm reunions, he admitted that even though their marriage was over, the bond with Jennifer Aniston had not disappeared. He said, "Jen and I still maintain a deep friendship and have a lot of life together that isn't erased in any way." He also reflected on the breakup itself, saying, "I don't know how better to have handled it. My view was, this was no one's business in the end, at least in matters of the heart. The thing guiding me then was you don't know how many days you have and you need life to be everything you need it to be." His words showed how complicated and private it all felt for him, even as the world was watching closely. Years later, in September 2011, Brad's words stirred the public once again. In an interview with Parade, he talked about his life during the marriage and said, "It became very clear to me that I was intent on trying to find a movie about an interesting life, but I wasn't living an interesting life myself. I think that my marriage to Aniston had something to do with it. Trying to pretend the marriage was something that it wasn't." Many people thought Brad was calling his life with Jennifer dull, and the reaction was huge. He quickly walked back his statement, making it clear that wasn't what he meant. In fact, he praised her publicly, saying, "It grieves me that this was interpreted this way. Jen is an incredibly giving, loving, and hilarious woman who remains my friend. It is an important relationship I value greatly. The point I was trying to make is not that Jen was dull, but that I was becoming dull to myself and that I am responsible for." His clarification softened the moment, showing that, despite everything, he still valued her deeply. 4 years after, the two stayed out of the spotlight together. But in January 2020, the world got a surprise. Jennifer and Brad reunited backstage at the SEI Awards, and the photos went viral. Instantly, fans couldn't stop talking about their warm smiles and the friendly hug they shared. Both of them had big wins that night, too, with Brad winning for Once Upon a Time. "Thank you to the Academy for this honor of honors. They told me I only have 45 seconds up here, which is 45 seconds more than the Senate gave John Bolton this week in Hollywood and Jennifer for the morning show." A source later explained it simply. Jen was happy for Brad. They congratulated each other, and that was it. Still, the pictures were enough to fuel endless rumors about a romantic reunion. Just a few months later, in September 2020, they appeared on screen together for the first time since their divorce. They joined a virtual table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High to raise money for charity, playing Brad Hamilton and Linda Barrett. They even shared a playful steamy scene that made their co-stars laugh and the internet buzz. The event included stars like Julia Roberts, Matthew McConaughey, and Sean Penn, but it was Brad and Jennifer's interaction that stole the spotlight. Their chemistry reminded fans why they once loved them so much as a couple. And the story didn't end there. In June 2021, Jennifer spoke openly about where things stood between them during an interview with Howard Stern. She confirmed there was no awkwardness at all, saying, "Brad and I are buddies. We're friends and we speak, and there's no oddness at all except for everyone that probably watched it and was wanting there to be or assumed there to be." She described the virtual reunion as absolutely fun and stressed that it was all for a good cause. These words showed the world that while their marriage didn't last, their friendship did. And that lasting bond still sparks interest every time the two appear together. But while Jennifer and Brad managed to stay on good terms, another chapter of Brad's life was already beginning. The beginning of Brangelina. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie first met in 2003 on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They played a married couple who were secretly assassins, and the chemistry between them was undeniable. At the time, Brad was still married to Jennifer Aniston, while Angelina had recently separated from Billy Bob Thornton. Jolie later told Vogue in 2007, "I didn't know much about exactly where Brad was in his personal life, but it was clear he was with his best friend, someone he loves and respects." Though both were careful, the friendship between them was already strong. Then in January 2005, Brad and Jennifer announced their separation. In a joint statement, they explained, "We would like to announce that after 7 years together, we have decided to formally separate. This decision is the result of much thoughtful consideration." Jennifer filed for divorce in March, and by October that year, it was finalized. As Brad's marriage ended, Angelina's life was already changing, too. In the summer of 2005, she traveled to Ethiopia to adopt her second child, Zahara. Brad was there with her. A source close to Jolie said at the time, "Angie's over the moon. It's a dream come true. She's always wanted to extend her family." The connection between Brad and Angelina was no longer just a rumor. It was turning into something much bigger. Something that included children and family. Building a family together. By early 2006, the relationship became official in more ways than one. In January, a judge approved the request to change Maddox and Zahara's last names to Jolie Pitt. It was a huge step showing Brad's intention to legally become their father. As one friend of the couple said, "It's the idea that you love one another and you want to create a family together." In May of that year, their first biological child, Shiloh, was born in Namibia. The name Shiloh means the peaceful one, a symbolic choice for a baby born into so much public attention. That same year, Brad gave an interview to Esquire and made headlines when he spoke about marriage. "Angie and I will consider tying the knot when everyone else in the country who wants to be married is legally able," he said, showing his support for marriage equality. He also spoke about fatherhood, adding, "They're as much of my blood as any natural born, and I'm theirs. That's all I can say about it. Can't live without them." In December 2006, Brad and Angelina finally stepped out together officially, attending the premiere of The Good Shepherd as a couple. And just a month later, Angelina addressed their love publicly for the first time in Vogue. She admitted, "It took until really the end of the shooting, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, for us, I think, to realize that it might mean something more than we'd earlier allowed ourselves to believe." She also revealed a special moment when Maddox called Brad Dad out of the blue, while playing with toy cars in a hotel room. "It was amazing," she said. "We both heard it and didn't say anything and just looked at each other. That moment," she explained, "was when they knew they would be a family and their family was about to grow even more." Expanding the Jolie Pitt clan. In March 2007, Angelina traveled to Vietnam to adopt her third child, Pax the Ion. The adoption papers only carried her name since the law made it difficult for unmarried couples. But by 2008, a judge approved Brad's adoption as well, and Pax's name was officially changed to Jolie Pitt. Angelina shared how brave he was, saying, "You can imagine what courage it takes to be in all new surroundings with new people and a new language. He is very strong." Just months later, Angelina debuted a baby bump at the Independent Spirit Awards, confirming she and Brad were expecting again. By May 2008, with 4 children, and 2 more on the way, the couple rented Chateau Miraval in France. Chateau Miraval is not just the wedding destination for Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, but it is also the estate that. This $70 million estate had vineyards, olive groves, lakes, fountains, and forests. Angelina revealed she was considering giving birth in France, where French had already become a second language for the family. In July 2008, she gave birth to twins, Nux Leon and Vivian Marceline in Nice, France. Brad and Angelina now had 6 children. Angelina admitted, "It is chaos, but we are managing it and having a wonderful time." She even shared how their older kids helped with the twins. Shiloh and Z pick out the twins' clothes and help change and hold them. It's sweet. They are little mommies. Around the same time, Angelina explained to Vanity Fair that it was their shared humanitarian work that brought her and Brad closer. "Though he wasn't as publicly active, I found him to be very aware of the world, very curious, very compassionate," she said. "We have similar interests but different approaches. But when it comes to common goals, orphans' rights, children, we support each other. It brings us together and makes our relationship work." Together they built not just a home, but a shared purpose. But as their family grew, so did the pressure from their children to make things official. The wedding at last. By 2010, Angelina shared how carefully she and Brad planned their lives around their kids. "There's never a period when Brad and I are pulled apart. We are not separated for more than 3 days ever. We're very much mommy and daddy in our pajamas," she said. 2 years later, Brad admitted that their children were pressuring them to get engaged. He told CBS News it means something to them and they have questions when their friends' parents are married and why is that? "We will someday. We will. But the kids say get mommy a ring." "Okay, I will. I will." And in April 2012, it finally happened. Brad's manager confirmed to People, "Yes, it's confirmed. It is a promise for the future, and their kids are very happy. There is no date set at this time." Angelina was seen wearing her engagement ring, which was said to be over 10 carats and valued at $1 million. People magazine is reporting that the ring is over an estimated 10 carats with a price tag as high as $1 million. But in May 2013, the family faced a difficult time. Angelina revealed she had chosen to undergo a preventative double mastectomy after learning she had a high chance of developing breast cancer. But Hollywood A-lister and global activist Angelina Jolie is against the risk of breast cancer that has turned her into a true inspiration. She wrote in the New York Times, "I am fortunate to have a partner, Brad Pitt, who is so loving and supportive." She added, "We knew this was the right thing to do for our family and that it would bring us closer, and it has." Then on August 23, 2014, Brad and Angelina finally tied the knot. The private wedding took place in the chapel of Chateau Miraval with only 20 guests including their children. Each child played a role. Maddox and Pax walked Angelina down the aisle. Zahara and Vivian were flower girls while Shiloh and Knox served as ring bearers. The children even helped write the vows. Pax baked the wedding cake and Angelina's gown was decorated with her kids' own drawings sewn into the fabric. She explained, "Luigi is like family to me, and I couldn't imagine anyone else making this dress. He knows and cares for the children and it was great fun putting it together." Days later, the newlyweds traveled to Malta for their honeymoon, where they filmed by the sea. Jolie explained she had written the film for the two of them, describing it as something really small and experimental. It was their way of mixing work with love. The breaking point. In March 2015, Angelina Jolie revealed she had her ovaries and fallopian tubes removed to lower her risk of cancer. She explained in a New York Times op-ed that although her test results were negative, she wanted to take the safe route. Jolie shared that Brad Pitt flew to her side the moment